Our primary mission is, in fact, to set a global standard for the world for behavior.
Palantir might sound like an evil organization, but are they? Is Palantir a way of surveilling and controlling Americans every bit as nefarious as anything that would have happened under Biden? Let's find out. Hello there, you awakening wonders. What a glorious new era this is, where it's clear that we're going to need new coalitions, new alliances, and new awakenings to have power in our own lives and to worship the true divine force of our Lord rather than being caught up in false idolatry. Remember, we stream on Rumble at these times, on these days. Join us there. And if you want more of me, my God, can you imagine? Get Rumble Premium. Now, you'll have heard about Palantir, won't you? They're a powerful tech organization that are doing deals with the government all the time. Are Palantir Trump's version of mass surveillance and mass control? Let me know what you think in the comments and chat. Let's have a look at some content designed to help us understand better, as objectively as is possible, the complex idea of a post-Trump surveillance state. Remember, this is Russell Brand Unpacked. And in Unpacked, we come offline and take a deeper look at issues of the day in a context where we've got the opportunity to cut like that, and the opportunity to remove the numerous things I say every single day that I would like to be able to retract. This is from John Fleetwood on Substack. The Trump administration has quietly laid the groundwork to merge massive amounts of federal data on US citizens, according to a report from the New York Times, raising serious privacy concerns about government overreach and surveillance. Founded in 2003 with seed funding from InQtel, the CIA's venture capital arm. The CIA should not have a venture capital arm, should they? Shouldn't we end that? Should the CIA have a venture capital? Aren't they, the CIA, supposed to be Central Intelligence Agency? Once they're setting up venture capital imperatives, aren't they already compromised? Let me know what you think about that in the chat. Palantir has long operated as an intelligence-linked surveillance contractor before expanding into civilian agencies. Now under Trump, the company is being positioned as the technological backbone of a sweeping federal data consolidation effort. Now under Biden, and in countries like the one I'm from, Britain is the name of it, there are numerous ventures and attempts to assert mass surveillance and mass control through technology. But isn't part of Trump's popular appeal that he's indeed the anti-government candidate? So let's have a look at Palantir and let's talk a little more about mass surveillance, a process that's been unfolding really since 9/11, and how we should responsibly oppose it.
If you don't have any reservations about Palantir taking everyone's information, I don't know. I don't know if I can trust you. I think they're buying people left and right. This is my guess. They try to buy me. My pussy costs a lot of money. I get invited to these dinners. I don't go. I've been invited to Teal's house multiple times for dinner. I don't go. It's no shade at them.
What does it say about me that I've never been invited and that I probably would go? I mean, what's it like around there?
The reason I don't go is I remember one dinner, they're like, we'd like to discuss the media. I go, what? No, thanks.
I like to think the reason I'm not being invited is because people know I'm for real. Wait a minute, I'm for real. I'm actually willing to die for this thing.
We'd like to discuss dinner. We'd discuss the media and culture. No, thanks. Appreciate it.
Pretty good from Tim Dillon, and looking forward to getting on that show and having him on this one. Let's have a look at Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir, making the extraordinary claim that his company's technology stopped or curtailed or controlled the rise of the far right in Europe. If the far right had a rise in Europe, presumably it's on the basis of electoral mandates and popularity at the ballot box. How did Palantir stop the rise of the far right? And should a private company that's formed out of a CIA carve-out have the power to stop popular uprisings, even, and perhaps especially, if you don't agree with the politics of, for example, the far right in Europe? Let's have a look.
Look, we built PG, which single-handedly stopped the rise of the far right in Europe. We built Foundry, which was used to distribute the COVID vaccine and saved millions of lives globally. We built what we call multi-constellation, and what's often called the digital kill chain.
I'm guessing this conversation is taking place at Davos. So that's already an interesting indication of what the alliances of Palantir might be. In a way, these behemoths, these titans, these tech sovereigns that are emerging out of the new territories conquered in cyberspace, a new globe being formed before our feet, a new grid emerging in our consciousness, new tools, new assets, new intelligence, new power, do not have restrictive codes by which they have to abide. I mean, presumably there are commercial and corporate laws that affect all corporations and companies, but my suspicion and indeed experience is these corporate codes are achieved and indeed written in conjunction with favorable governments. You know, I'm talking about my experiences with, like, you know, say Monsanto or Exxon, the old giants of yesteryear. Those organizations were brilliant, and look at the pharmaceutical industry, capturing and controlling the very bodies that are meant to regulate them. So essentially what I'm saying is there's new forms of power now in the world. We're all witnessing it. Sometimes it takes the human form of Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Zuckerberg, these new sort of identifiable figures that have emerged out of the big tech space. But when it's something a little more obtuse, something like Palantir that I've not really heard of, I don't really know what they do, it looks like they're sort of surveilling en masse, capturing data en masse and manipulating people's feeds in order to influence the way they vote. I mean, just if this dude's able to get people to take vaccines or not be right-wing, that looks like a level of control the interfaces, presumably, with media. Let's get into it.
And they're category-defining products. So when you deliver these products to the market, just honestly, people say this isn't going to exist, this isn't valuable, but then it changes the market. And then the market is the Palantir market. Now, that doesn't mean everyone in the world is going to buy our product, but it means most of the sensible people in the world are going to buy from the category we defined.
How extraordinary, because in a way, for all of the novelty of big tech spaces, you're still talking about commerce, and that's still materialism, and that's still ultimately mammon. Let me know what you think about that in the comments and chat. Even in the emergent new technologies and their incredible new capacities, it's not paradigm shifting, it's just a matter of scale. Now we have control, the ability to control consciousness, manipulate people's behavior at an extraordinary and unprecedented scale. And here is Alex Karp saying that behavior modification and control is fundamental to their MO. It is indeed their raison d'etre, to use a bit of Latin and a bit of French, immediately next to each other.
You ought to have a basic grasp of Latin if you're working in curries.
Then we were asked if we were willing to supply our product philanthropically, basically for free, and I was very in favor of this because our primary mission is, in fact, to set a global standard for the world for behavior.
Okay, just setting a global standard for behavior. Nothing to worry about there, unless you believe in a little thing like freedom. Nudges and behavioralism and B.F. Skinner and being able to encourage rats down a maze with little pellets of delight might seem like an abstract clinical exercise, but you and I are the rats, and our neurology is being manipulated moment by moment. Let's have a look at this piece of writing from John Fleetwood on Substack so we can understand the goals of an organization like Palantir and the kind of behavior that they might be interested in encouraging. Many are rightly critical of the New York Times' biased reporting, but if this story is accurate, it confirms serious concerns about privacy and surveillance, especially with a CIA-funded company like Palantir at the center. Again, CIA-funded from the outset. Isn't that weird? Doesn't that trouble anyone? Is that normal? Is that what you want from agencies of law enforcement, that they're funding companies? Doesn't that formula trouble you? Trump signed an executive order to make federal data sharing easier, then went silent. But behind closed doors, his administration has been setting up the infrastructure to potentially create an all-seeing database on Americans using Palantir as the backbone. Trump's team funneled over $130 million into Palantir, not including a nearly $800 million Pentagon contract. They're embedding the company's surveillance tools across multiple departments, paving the way for unprecedented cross-agency data fusion. At the heart of this operation is Foundry, Palantir's data mining software that federal officials say could be used to blend government databases into a single detailed profile on US citizens, including financial, medical, and disability info. Across the world, wherever you look, there's someone somewhere trying to observe everything you're doing. In my country, the UK, it's these new Brit cards. Hey, who could object to a Brit card? It's got the word Brit in it. It's probably got a Union Jack on it. What could be more patriotic than that? The idea of patriotism is itself derived from tribalism, and that's derived from the idea that we have a common interest with those around us. Family, community, If you are a patriot to something, let it be a set of values that are meaningful. Don't be a patriot of your own demise. Don't be a patriot of your own subjugation. Don't let people wave a flag in front of your face and stick their finger up your butt to see how you're feeling on any particular day. Make sure the thing you believe in is exactly what you believe it to be, not a set of systems designed to control your conduct. Let me know what you think about that in the comments and chat. I've started thinking of this finger as dirty ever since I used that metaphor. Let's metaphorically Pontius Pilate the shit out of that. There! It's on you guys now! Kill him if you want to! And those guys, we all know who those guys were, right kids? Palantir employees are uneasy. Some quit while others signed an open letter. I've signed an open letter. And that wasn't enough to bring down this massive global behemoth that had as its stated goal nothing less than the control over all human behavior. Dear sir, your plan to control all of reality is remiss, and I must object in the strongest terms possible. We're going to need to do more than write letters. Free speech is under attack, Jack, but Rumble refuses to take it lying down. Rumble is farting out the fierce cock of authoritarianism and clamping shut the butt cheeks of free speech, baby. When major advertisers conspired to pull their dollary dues, even brands like Dunkin' Donuts turned their back, claiming Rumble had a right-wing culture. But we're not here to fit a mold. We're here to defend free expression. Content from creators like Russell Brand. Yo, I'm that dude. Dr. Disrespect, Tim Cast, and the Mug Club with Crowder. It's more than a subscription, it's a stand for free speech. Your voice matters. For a limited time, you can get $10 off an annual plan using the Rumble code BRAND. Visit rumble.com/premium/brand and claim your discount today. Together we can turn the tide, whether you join Rumble Premium or simply keep watching. Your support helps keep free speech alive, and with free speech, we can be free together. Subscribe to Rumble now. They fear the company is becoming a surveillance machine and a warning about the dangers of combining so much personal data in one space. The New York Times angle is par for the course anti-Republican, but the employee backlash and internal dissent at Palantir reveal legitimate concerns about the unprecedented risks of consolidating Americans' personal data, especially when that data is managed by a CIA-funded firm with deep ties to federal surveillance operations. Groups like the Electronic Frontier Foundation are warning when people no longer trust the government to protect their data, the result is a crisis of trust in public institutions. Neither Palantir nor the White House will provide clear answers. Palantir claims it's just a data processor. Trump's team hides behind the efficiency language to justify centralized surveillance architecture. Now remember, the good old days of the Biden administration, safety and convenience were continually used to elicit and exert control. That's what happens in liberal democracies. In this somewhat new MAGA nationalist populist America first moment, note if there is a new lexicon minted in order to legitimize comparable controls, and let me know if you think that's happening in the comments and chat. Palantir has long been a government contractor, but Trump's election sent its stock soaring and gave the company deeper roots in federal surveillance infrastructure. With CEO Karp, that's that guy who looks like a clown without makeup, now backing Trump's vision for restructured government. Palantir's foundry is already inside the IRS. The software is being used to build real-time migrant tracking and to consolidate taxpayer data, raising red flags about scope and intent. Palantir's reach may soon expand to social security and education, as internal emails suggest plans to merge these databases, essentially creating a unified dossier on Americans. Now, though this does seem to be particularly anti-MAGA and anti-Trump, in the UK, former Prime Minister Tony Blair has relationships with American health insurance companies trying to use databases for the NHS in exactly the same manner. Inside Palantir, insiders are sounding alarms over data security, especially from what the New York Times article emphasizes as Doge's sloppy practices. Some are quitting outright, unwilling to cross what they see as an ethical red line. If a CIA-funded surveillance firm is quietly merging federal databases on Americans and even its own staff are warning of misuse, then the threat isn't hypothetical, it's here. Is this a new seismic moment we're entering into? Escalating war, escalating surveillance, reneging on campaign promises. Where are we now? Are you beginning to wonder if polarizing bipartisan systems where the same systems remain in power, even if there are vivid apparent distinctions, it might be the system itself that needs to be changed, altered, radically overthrown in favor of the decentralized models that are available to us now, as you can witness through the emergence of independent media. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and chat? Remember, Russell Brand Unpacked is part of our Rumble program. If you're watching this anywhere other than Rumble, then click the link in the description and join us on Rumble, why don't you? And more important than any of that, if you can, please stay free. Thanks for watching the video. Have a look at this one over here, or join us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on Rumble.